Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share with you some of my most used products. I wanted to round up all of the products that I feel like I've got my money's worth out of, and just share with you what they look like and why I think they've gotten the money's worth out of, and just show you kind of some pan porn, that kind of stuff. I'm very excited. It's always nice to look back at makeup products that you feel like you've got a money's worth, especially when you have a larger collection. It's easy to kind of, rotate through and neglect certain things when you do have so many options. But I'm going to jump into the kind of products. The thing is, in this video, I decided to only focus on eye products and like colored face products. I'm not focusing on any base products, so no foundations, concealers, powders, things like that, because I go through them quite a lot anyway. And also, I decided to skip over lip products just because I feel like there's so many lip products that I could include. And it's like, I don't really know where to draw the line. So I decided to skip them in this video. If you want to see a version of this dedicated on lip products, let me know. Same with single eyeshadows. I didn't go through those either, because similar things there again. But the rest of the products, so basically, like I said, eyeshadow, palettes, I have bronzers, blushes, that kind of stuff. That's all going to be included in the video, but I'm excited to jump into the products. But before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I'm going to start off with non-eyeshadow products first, and then move into the eyeshadow palettes at the end. I'm going to start with this product right here, which is actually in a pretty pan at the moment. So I'm getting a lot of use of this one, but this is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour matte bronzer, and as you can see, I have a lot of use out of this one. I am trying to finish it up completely, so obviously I'm getting a lot of use out of this product, and I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. It is a really nice bronzer. I'm actually wearing it today, and yeah, this is like quite inexpensive as well, so I feel like I definitely got my money's worth. I did get this one passed down to me, but that's another thing to note with this product. I'm also going to include things that were gifts, things like that, but I'm going to like look at them at like retail value. So even if I didn't pay for all of these products, I still want to include that. I also am going to do a video, a version of this, like my most neglected products. And same thing there, I'm going to include things that were gifts as well, just because even though I didn't pay for them myself, I still feel like I should give them some love. So that's why I'm including those products too. But yeah, that is the first one right there, and I'm definitely getting my money's worth out of this product. We have a couple of blushes next, and I have two right here which I feel like I've got my money's worth out of. These are two of the Benefit box blushes. We have Rockateur right here, and you can see hopefully that it looks quite well used. I don't have pan on this one nor the other one, but I wanted to include other products too that didn't necessarily have pan. But you can see that I have gotten a lot of use out of it, and you can see at the bottom that all of the imprint is worn, and you can kind of see is like the indentation. So that is the first one. And then the second one, also from Benefit, is the Gold Rush blush, and this one looks very similar. You can also see like the indents there on the bottom. Very, very happy with how this one is looking, and I've definitely gotten a lot of use out of this blush too. Probably most used blush that I have in my collection, which I 100% feel like I've gotten my use out of and my money's worth of, is this blush right here, which comes from MAC. This is one of my absolute favorite blushes in my whole collection, and I have hit pan on this one, and I've worn it down quite a lot. I'm almost like savoring this one now because I don't want it to be finished, but I definitely feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of this one. And as you can see, like there is definitely product left in here, but it's getting very thin, and at least like this area right here is very thin. This part is a bit thicker, but it's definitely worn down a lot. So I do feel like I have gotten my money's worth, and I'm definitely cautious with how much I'm using this one right now because I do not want it to end. I have one more blush to talk about, and that is this Clinique blush right here in the shade Plum Pop, and this is one of their Cheek Pop blushes. So this one might not look like the most used. You can still see a little bit of imprint, but I do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of this one. I have used this one a lot, and even though it doesn't like look completely flattened, it is very well loved. And comparing it to the other shades that I have in this, it is 100% like used. So yeah, this is a very slow moving product, but I do love it. It's one of my favorite pink blushes, so I wanted to include it in this video. And again, I wanted to include things that didn't necessarily have pan on them, because I don't feel like you always, pan doesn't always like necessarily mean that you got your money's worth. Sometimes you use something to hit pan, especially when it comes to the eyeshadows. I feel like sometimes you use one shade to hit pan, whereas if you use the palette as a whole a lot, I feel like there's different aspects to that kind of qualification. And yeah, this one is definitely well loved, and this one here is definitely well loved. Alright, so we have a couple highlighters to talk about next, and the first one is this one here, which is another one similarly to the Clinique blush I just showed you. This is the Becca highlighter in Champagne Pop, and I don't have pan on this one yet, but this is one that has not really been in any product or anything. I used to use this one organically, and hopefully you can see right there that I do have a big dip in this highlighter right there. I haven't used it for a while now because I'm determined to finish up other highlighters, but I do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of this one, especially because it hasn't been in project. It's just been organic use for this product, and I still have a really, really big dip in it. So that is the first highlight I wanted to share. The second highlighter is currently in a project, and I definitely have gotten my use out of this one. This is the What's Up highlighter, which I'm currently trying to pan in my rolling product pan. And guys, that is all I have left. It's barely any, so I've 100% gotten my money's worth out of this one. It is almost done, and I mean, that's finishing something up is like the best way to get your money's worth. So that's like, this was the given to include. It's a little bit of a spoiler. I mean, I've used it a little bit since my last update, but you already knew that I was very, very close, and it's not quite finished yet, but I'm gonna get there very soon. Then lastly, for face product, we have two face palettes. The first one I am panning again in my rolling product pan, and that is the Sleek Solstice palette. It's a bit grubby now, but it lives in my makeup drawer, that's why. And this one currently looks like this. As you can see, I've used up two of the pans already. This one is mostly full, but this one I just repressed and it had a very, very big pan on it. So this is definitely a palette that I have gotten my money's worth out of. I'm trying to finish this one, but overall, this was quite an affordable palette, and I have used this for such a long time. It's mainly been the only highlighter that I've used this year, and I've only really focused on these two shades, so there's definitely a lot more in here. I finished this shade up here a couple of years ago in my Partisan Cream, and this one I'm kind of waiting for. But yeah, definitely got my money's worth. It lasts a long, long time, especially considering the price. Then we have another face product and face palette, and this one is quite a given. This is the Hourglass Ambient Edit Ghost palette, which is my Panda face palette for the year. I have 100% gotten my money's worth out of this one. You can see that I have a lot of views. I have one pan there in the center on the top, which is getting quite big, and a lot of the other shades have flattened out quite a bit. So I feel like I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of this one. It is something that I'm still continuously working on, and I'm hopefully going to get out this year. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with how this is looking, and I feel like this was definitely worth the money for me. Alright, so we have eyeshadows next, and I know I said I wouldn't include single, but I meant like magnetic singles. I do want to include potted singles. So first up we have this Stila Magnificent Metal in the shade Metallic Peach, which I am panning at the moment in my deco panning. But this one I've definitely got my money's worth out of. This is what it looks like now. It's very worn, and I had this one for a long, long time without using it, but this year is definitely the year that I've shown this some love, and I've gotten a lot of use out of this one. So that is the first product. And then the second one I just had to include, this is my current eyebrow powder, which is technically an eyeshadow, but I'm using it in my eyebrows. And this one again is in my year-long product pan, and this is what it looks like. This is the Rosewood eyeshadow from Burberry, and I have definitely got my money's worth out of this one. It is more of an expensive brand, but I have used this one a lot. This is the only thing that I've used all year. I've gotten more than 200 uses out of this one. I think I'm up to like almost 230 uses with this product, which is, you know, insane. So I would say that this is like the most well-loved product I have this year, because this has the highest uses out of any product, I think, because it's one that I consistently use every single time I do my makeup. So yeah, this one was a given to include in this video. Okay, so we have palettes next. These are the last things I want to share. I'm going to go kind of like somewhat in brand order, and I'm just going to show you overview. I'm not going to talk you through them too long because it just kind of shows what the palette looks like. But the first one I have is my Norvina palette, which is definitely well loved, and you can see what it looks like. I do have pan on a lot of these shades, and some of them are quite worn as well. It's not like I just kind of distinctly hit pan, but that is the first palette. I do feel like I got my money's worth out of this one, even though I do want to continue working on it. Then one that I of course had to include is the Soft Glam palette, which is my current Panda palette. This one I've 100% got my money's worth out of, and I'm hoping to get even more value out of this one this year. But this is what this one looks like at the moment. I do have a couple like repressed shades in here, so it looks like I have less progress than I do. But yeah, definitely well loved, definitely got my money's worth. So that is the next product. Let's do Colourpop next, and I have two palettes to talk about. The first one is this one here, which is one that I absolutely adore and I have used so much. It is a palette in my collection that I come back to over and over again because I just love the tones in here, and that is the Child palette in like the Mandalorian, the Child palette from Colourpop again. You can see I have pans on all shades apart from one. And overall, I just love this palette very much. And I feel like I definitely got my money's worth out of this one, especially considering Colourpop is quite affordable. And then the second palette I have from Colourpop is this one right here, which is the Through My Eyes palette, which looks very, very well loved. This is what this one looks like. And again, I have pan on a lot of these shades, and some of them are quite expanded too. So this is a palette that I have used a lot over the past couple of years. So I do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of this one. We have a miscellaneous palette next, which I have. This is one of my most used products to share in this video, and that is my old Panda palette from last year. This is the Gold Obsessions palette from Huda Beauty. This was one that I tried to pan last year and I had 3 shades left, but now I have finished one more of those and I only have 2 left. So, I mean, this is a given. This one looks very well loved, and it really is. So that is the next product to share. I have 2 products left, and I would say like I'm going to save the I guess most controversial. It's not like that controversial, but I'm going to save that one for last. We have Natasha Denona next, and this is the next palette, which is the Mini Gold palette. And this one was my Product Level Up Level 5 palette, which meant that I got a lot of use out of this palette, and you can see that I had to hit pan on all of the shades. So I put a lot of dedicated use into all of these shades end of last year, and I do feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of this one because I did use it so consistently for, I think, the 2 months that I was working on this project. Then the last product that I want to share is, again, a little bit more like controversial because I feel like it doesn't necessarily look too well loved, but I did want to include it anyway. And that is my Natasha Denona Gold palette. This is a palette that I feel like I have started getting my money's worth out of. It is a really expensive palette. I got this one as a gift, but I am still going to include it in this video. I don't have any pans or anything in this palette, but I do have a lot of dips. And this is a palette that I only really use organically. I think I have worked on a couple of shades in projects for like a usage goal, but overall this is a palette that I use more organically whenever I feel like it, which is why I wanted to include it in this palette, because even though I haven't had it into like a Product Level Up or anything like that to hit pan on, I do still have a lot of dips and a lot of use of this palette, which is why I'm including it in this video. So that, you guys, is going to be it for this video. I do have, like I said, a part 2 of this coming up, I think tomorrow, with all of my least used products, so you can look forward to that. In the meantime, I'm hoping you're having an amazing day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.